Hello. Do you love attracting abundance? Who doesn't love having just tons of money at your disposal? You can type, I am a money magnet if you would like to see how you can magnetize more money, because that is what we are talking about in this video. My name is Avital, and I am a galactic experiences creator. And what we're going to talk about is what is the step, what is the tools to be able to magnetize more money into our lives. I got interested in this more deeply when I was living at a yoga community, which is part of a church and a nonprofit, where you're not making a lot of money, you're also not spending a lot of money. But I still wanted to make sure that I was attracting a good amount of abundance so I could live comfortably and be able to give back a lot of it as well. And this is where I started researching. And then when I moved out of the community, after not living in the world for 7 years, I had to ask the question, how do people make money today? How do we start a business today? And I started going to a personal development training about once every month, to the point where one of the company's Success Resources America hired me to be one of their lead coaches. And what I realized is that there's things that are individual for every single client I was working with. And there were things that I was doing the same for every client, that we could create a model that everyone could follow. And that's actually why I even created an 8-week How to Become a Money Magnet program. Here's the key, is that money is a form of energy. But here's the real deal. Was there not a time in our history before money even existed? Yet people still survived. They were still alive. What they needed to do was make sure that they found food, that they found shelter, right? That we got the basics. Ooh, Robert, I like that image you just put in the chat. Hi, Joe. So money was actually something that we created, that we decided was going to be our main form of exchange to get the material things that we want in life, as well as the internal support, right? For our mind, body, and our spirit, for being able to do really, really fun experiences. And the question is, how are we moving that flow of energy? There was this young boy whose family took him up way up high in the mountains, and there was this wonderful fresh spring water, and he just filled his water bottle with that water. It was water that was so clear, you could just drink it straight from the stream. He took it home. He was so excited to own this pure water that he just wanted to make it last longer, because once it's gone, right? And he would save it and only have a tiny bit each day, to the point where the water became rancid, where it started growing things, and it was no longer drinkable and no longer this wonderful fresh spring water that he could drink. But why did he just think, well, could I ask my parents if we could go up there again and get more spring water? Or find out if there's a company that's bringing the water from the mountain down into the city for people to replenish that. But it's kind of like deforesting a tree without replanting the trees. If you really want trees and all of the things that trees do for the environment and the products that we make out of trees, you have to rebuild them. Otherwise, they're going to be gone. And of course, money is made from paper, which is made from trees. So of course we want those trees. We're replenishing, we're replanting that energy. Once you know that money is a form of energy, what you could think about is how you work with energy in other areas of your life and then apply it to this area. That means the first key tip out of 3 that I want to share with you here is to just ask yourself, what other areas of life are you abundant? Do you have a lot? And get creative with this. You might have a lot of physical objects, but maybe you have a lot of friends. Maybe you have a lot of job opportunities coming to you. Maybe you have an abundance of fun. Maybe you have an abundance of thoughts in your head. And you've created this life to create space and time for those thoughts to be abundant. So, what are you doing to allow yourself to be abundant in that area of life? And then how can you apply those skills to magnetizing more abundance in terms of money? Then we could remove some of the stress that comes up around money, knowing that you already have the ability to be successful. You just have to apply it to this area. But this is where we get into the second tip. The question is, what is your relationship with money? What beliefs were you taught growing up or along the way that transitioned, like money doesn't grow on trees? Well, actually it does. Like, no, rich people are not honest, right? Whatever those beliefs might be. Like, I'm not deserving of being rich. I'm not the type to be rich. So what do you believe that your glass ceiling is, that the amount of max you could have of money, that's like your blueprint? How much money can you allow into your life? What values do you have around money and around yourself so that you feel like you really are valuable and deserving to have this amazing abundance, and you trust in your ability to magnetize the abundance? Are you the type that's a saver, a spender, an avoider, right? These are all the things that you could talk about with relationship in money. And we even go through a full survey going through these questions so you understand it and you know exactly what you need to work with within the Money Magnet program. And by the way, we're doing it right now as part of the Sit and Succeed program. So if you simply go to sitandsucceed.com, you're welcome to join us, and you'll see the recording from the first session online on the website there, and you can catch up really quickly and join the group live or just follow the recordings and do all of these wonderful steps on your own. And so now we're really clear, what do we need to work on? So of course, what's going to happen next? You want to shift it, right? So that you can attract the abundance that you want. Well, let's also get really clear what exactly you want. What is your goal? So if you say, I want to have more money, it's kind of like going into the ice cream shop and saying, I want to have ice cream, and they hand you vanilla when really what you wanted was chocolate. So if you get more specific, like I receive $10,000 or more in passive income per month, then it's really clear what flavor of ice cream you want. And you could say, if you go to the ice cream store and you say, I want 2 or more scoops, see if they just happen to give you a little extra that day. So we want to make sure too that we leave space for life to be better than what we can imagine, because often it is. So why limit it to just the perception that we can see ourselves for our lives? And then you can work specifically on how you're going to shift that. And that's, of course, what people do with me one-to-one, because sometimes we have these deep-seated either traumas or beliefs or confidence within ourselves. And those are things that we could shift through the neuro-linguistic programming and some of the other techniques that I do one-to-one with clients. So please be sure to share this video with others so that they get the tips of knowing that success is already within ourselves and how are we going to apply it to this area. And you can join so you get real hardcore techniques in the 8-week How to Become a Money Magnet program. And for right now, come to sitandsucceed.com and you could join us live as well. Thank you so much for joining. If there's any other questions coming up for you, then post them below this video. Have a good day.